Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to Crypto Hash Review, where we educate and disseminate information about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies from a Muslim perspective. And in this video series, we are discussing the attributes of money in order to understand what is Bitcoin. So we covered in our previous video verifiability, and we mentioned that Bitcoin, in terms of score ratings, has the highest score out of all forms of money, historically speaking, as it relates to the ability to verify its authenticity and reliability in doing so. Today we're going to talk about fungibility. This is a new word, fungible. Now, fungibility is a very important attribute of money, and it's actually, and this is speculation on my behalf, the reason, or one of the reasons why certain commodities also come under the banner of a riba or ribawi. So, for example, we know that you can't exchange, and if you was to give 1 bar of gold to get 2 bars of gold, it's riba. We understand that. But if you did the same for salt, if I gave you 1 kilogram of salt for 2 kilograms of salt, that's also riba. But why would that be riba? I mean, riba refers to money, no? Well, that's the interesting thing. What does fungibility mean? Salt, gold, Bitcoin, fiat money, all display attributes of fungibility. And that basically means that each individual item is identical in the sense of exchangeability. So if I had a kilogram piece of gold here and a kilogram piece of gold here, essentially they are the same. Whether they are in a cube form, in a prism form, in a pyramid form, whether it's flat, in a ball, whatever shape it's in, if it's 1 kilogram, it's worth the same. That's fungibility. I can bend it, I can cut it, I can do anything I want with it, but if I was to weigh 1 kilogram to 1 kilogram, they are exactly the same. And that's what we see that with salt. If I had a kilogram, or if I had, for example, a liter of salt, and I had a liter of salt here, they are essentially the same. Same function, same thing. I could take out a milliliter, I could take out a piece of salt, a small cup of salt, and I could take out another cup of salt, and these two cups would be identical. As opposed to watermelons. One watermelon and one watermelon are not the same. Or one egg and one egg are not the same. We can't say that all eggs are the same. They have different shapes, different size, different qualities. Same in watermelons, different shapes, different size. Whereas something like salt, say wheat, rice, these things, any difference between them is negligible. Put it that way, any differences between them is negligible in terms of the grand scale of things. Hence why we will say they are fungible. If I said, get a bag of rice for me, and I say, how much do you want? I want a liter. When I say liter, I'm talking about a volumetric measurement. I want a liter of rice. I know what that means. Even when we cook with cups. How many cups of rice did you use? I use 3 cups. People don't use weight, we use measurement, because we understand that 3 cups is a certain thing. So uniformity of the items, kind of what makes money. So if I was to explain or discuss that as relates to debts, a debt is a debt, not necessarily uniform, because if I have, for example, someone owes me £10 and he owes me, and I owe him £20, the debt is not exactly the same. But we can do something called hawala, whereby I transfer my debt to someone else, and you could do so. So in terms of fungibility, a debt is a debt. What is owed is what is owed. It does enter into realms of speculation as to quantifying what a debt is. I mean, a day's worth of work to me is not the same as someone else. But if you use a unit to describe that debt, then debt is technically fungible. Also, we have items and commodities. Now, as you can tell, certain items and commodities are best used for currencies, whilst others are really terrible. So I could use a cow to measure wealth, or to not wealth, or to measure a payment. I can say, I'll pay you 5 cows for this. And you might say, yeah, done deal. But then the question is, how big is the cow? I mean, is the cow huge? Is the cow small? How old is the cow? Is it 1 year old, 2 years old? There's so many factors involved in a cow, that using cows as a unit is not very good. There's no fungibility in a cow because each cow is different. So certain items, commodities are different. So as a whole, fungibility as a whole is not great, but there are definitely subcategories in commodities that are better than others. So in that regards, I give it a 4. Just based on, the only thing that lost from 5 is 5 out of 5 is because commodities as a whole or items as a whole could differ, even amongst themselves. Then we have gold. Gold gets a 5 out of 5 for me because gold is, they say, infinitely malleable. You can bend and twist and crush and stretch. You can do all sorts of things with gold, almost infinitely. There's no end what you can do with gold. They even have sheets of glass with a layer of 1 atom of gold, just 1 atom. That's how thin you can stretch gold out to, literally an atom's thin, which is almost, you could say, one-dimensional. So that's how you could say fungible gold is. And that same sheet of glass with that thin layer of gold over it, if you was to, you can extract that gold if you wanted to, and get that bar again if you had enough of it. Paper and fiat. Now, the whole design of fiat is that it's fungible. Meaning that one £5 note, like imagine the old £5 notes that are made out of paper and the newer ones made out of plastic. They're both the same. They're both £5 notes. I can't say, yeah, well, this is worth more than or less than that one. They're both exactly the same. That is, they are totally fungible, and they get a 5 out of 5 from us in that regards. And Bitcoin is the same as gold because it's just a number, and numbers are fungible. The number 1 is exactly the same as number 1. So if I had 0.2 Bitcoin and another 0.2 Bitcoin, and on this side I had 0.4 Bitcoin, they're both the same. This is 0.4 in total, that's 0.4. So Bitcoin being a number is obviously 5 out of 5 for fungibility. We hope you find this video useful. I hope you understood, I hope you found or learned the meaning of fungibility. Fungibility is very key to understanding the usefulness of money, and it's rarely in history that any form of money that wasn't fungible lasted very long. I hope you find this video useful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you want to give us a shout, find us on our website, cryptohashreview.com.